Today's episode, I'm going to take you through downtown Detroit. Here's a view of the skyline from my hotel room at Greektown Hotel and Casino. And there's a view at Ford Field. Let's get started. Here is Fishbones, which is right in the heart of Greektown. Certainly recommend that restaurant. But we're going to start off today at Firebird Tavern. So here's a look at the outside of Firebird Tavern, and when I say tavern, I mean tavern. This is the epitome of a tavern. If you like your bourbon, if you like your old fashions, this is definitely a good place to come to. The steak frites is my favorite. I actually met a few new friends when I came here, which leads me to our next destination. They actually were staying at the MGM Grand Casino Hotel. Here they actually are right in front of me, my new friend Brandon and his wife. Now, Detroit has 3 casinos. This is one of them, MGM Grand. There's also Hollywood Casino at Greektown, which is where I was staying, and also Motor City Casino. In my opinion, MGM is going to be the best casino out of all 3 in the city of Detroit. This is definitely Vegas flair. Every single casino game is brand new. As you can see here, this is definitely the 21st century. This is not a look at the 1990s. Now, they have a few good restaurants too, like Deep Prime Steakhouse, where I had my lobster mac and cheese right there. Here's a little view of the inside of it. You could tell that it's first class all the way. This is definitely a place where you want to take your date or somebody very important. Even the walk to the bathroom, you can see the high ceilings. This is high class all the way. Definitely a luxurious restaurant, excuse me. So I said there are 3 casinos in the city of Detroit. I took you to one of them, MGM Grand, gave you a little preview. This is the second one. This is Hollywood Casino at Greektown, which is where I was staying. Remember where I was saying that some casinos have older slot machines? As you saw just a few seconds ago, you saw some of the older slot machines, but Hollywood Casino at Greektown is definitely no slouch. They've actually done a lot of renovations in the past 10 years. It looks a lot different from how it looked 10 years ago. They've upgraded certain slot machines, renovated the walls to make them higher walls. 10 years ago, it actually smelled a lot like cigarette smoke, and the higher walls definitely helped that out. Although COVID has changed some of the rules as far as smoking goes, because now in a lot of casinos, you have smoking sections. Like, for instance, the second floor of Greektown, you could smoke, but on the first floor you can't. In MGM, there's going to be certain designated areas where you could smoke, which I'll show you a little bit when we go back to MGM Grand. So to the left you see more table games like craps and blackjack, all that stuff. And then to the right here you have the sports book, which it's a good place for food, drinks. They do have plush seating, although if there's going to be a UFC fight or something along those lines, you're going to have to pay couple $100s to get your seating there, but that's on high attractive events like UFC or March Madness, stuff like that. So we're going to take you on another tour of the second floor. This is another area of the gaming. We had just passed the VIP section. In this area, essentially all the games are going to be brand new. I want to say maybe about 80% of the gaming here is 21st century gaming. There are some older machines, but what can you do? So this is the outside of Greektown Casino. Now this is Monroe Street. Monroe Street is the Bourbon Street of Detroit. Now you can see Astoria Pastry Shop, which if you like sweets, I certainly recommend going to that place, which I'll show you a little bit of that in a second. The Greek's a good restaurant. I'll show you that as well. Now, also Monroe Street, Fishbones and Firebird Tavern is also on that street. So if you just walk a little bit further, you'll see those. Now, Eatin' Out Pizza, this is the pizzeria that's connected to Greektown. Now, it's a good place if you are up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you are drunk, you came from the bars or clubs, and you're hungry. This is definitely the pizza that you'll want to have. Here's a look at a few of the pies that they have. Now, they do say that they are the best New York pizza, and there's a slice of my cheese. They do market themselves on the best New York sliced pizza in Detroit, as you can see by that sign. There are a few others that give a run for their money, but it's definitely good quality pizza. Now, Astoria Pastry Shop, which I had showed you earlier, if you have a sweet tooth, this is definitely the place to be. They have anything from macaroons, cookies, cheesecakes, cannolis, cookies, anything sweet, they have it. Now, this is the nightcap of Monroe. Now, this is a Thursday night. I do tell you that it's the Bourbon Street of Detroit, but Thursday night, isn't the best representation as far as. But this is the Greek. That's the Saganaki, which I'll get to in a second. We'll go back to the Greek as well. So, Greektown Casino has 2 floors. I showed you the second floor before where you can smoke. This is the first floor. This is where you enter. So, on the first floor, you'll see actually most of the, I don't want to say obsolete gaming, but certainly older games. You can tell the slots are from like the 90s and such. But this is the Rock Bar. You can see off to the right, that's more of a lounge area where if you wanted to chill and watch TV, people watch. Or you could go to the bar off to the left. Either way, you're good to go as far as people watching or hanging out. That's a decent place. So here is where there's going to be more of the 21st century gaming. You're not going to be living in the 20th century. This is certainly the more updated version of the casino. So that's it from Greektown. Now let's go back to MGM. You can see the smoking slots section there. They do have carded off sections where you could smoke. For instance, as I shown you, for slot machines, if you're a fan of taking your money and putting it in the slots and you like to smoke, that's one area. Here's another area where if you want to smoke and try your luck at the slots, that's another area. That's how the casinos really have played it in 2024. So this used to be the Palette buffet. Now they changed it into a central market, which is more of like a food court. Haven't really been there, so I can't really give you a review of that. But this is the Access Lounge. This is the bar in the center of MGM Grand. This is kind of like the Rock Bar version of MGM Grand, which is pretty nice. So this is the heart of downtown. As you can see here, many different skyscrapers. This is where we're approaching Campus Martius. Right here, this building is actually the headquarters of Rocket Companies, where Quicket Loans, or Rocket Mortgage as they like to be called now, that's the headquarters there with founder Dan Gilbert. And the tall building where you had 4 buildings and then one center building, that's the Renaissance Center. That's the tallest building in Detroit. As of right now, it's the headquarters of GM, which I'll get to their new headquarters in a second. But let's take a stroll down Woodward Avenue. So this road right here, Woodward Avenue, that's the main stretch of Detroit. Now the buildings off to the right, that is the Hudson Project, which decades ago, it used to be the Hudson Warehouse, which was a big shopping center and very popular in Detroit, but they had demolished that down, and for decades it was empty, but now they're building some buildings on top of that. We'll get to that in a second. So to the left right here, that building, it was the Hudson Cafe, which if you're a brunch person, I strongly recommend that place. The creme brulee waffles to die for. And you see, got the Nike shop here. So the Hudson Project, the building to my far right, that's actually going to be where GM's new headquarters are going to be. So that'll be in about a year or so. Now, the great thing about Woodward is about 10 years ago, you definitely would not be seeing people up and down Woodward and seeing a bunch of clothing shops and so on and so forth. It was really kind of a ghost town, but thanks to the investment from people like Dan Gilbert, Mike Gillich, It is thriving, and for a Saturday afternoon, I was pleased to see that kind of activity downtown. Now, Gilley's Rooftop and Bar, this actually is pretty new. This opened up in April around the NFL draft when it was held in Detroit. So here's a look at the inside of it. Now, this is my old fashioned that I had. That's one of my many drinks that I had. I definitely could recommend that. That was actually a good drink. Gilley's definitely a good place if you want to sit around and chill for an hour or two. Definitely a good place for the afternoon, but I do hear that it does get busy late at night. So this is one of the alleys in Detroit. This is actually behind the bars on Woodward Avenue. Detroit's going to have a couple of alleys like this where you could just walk through it and you'll see various different restaurants and bars off to the left or off to the right. Like you can see here, Mr. Dips, that's a ice cream place. And you can have random seating as well if you want to sit down, chill, people watch. It's actually a pretty cool environment. So this area, this is not too far off of Woodward Avenue. This is Grand River, which is one of the main stretches in all of Detroit. Woodward and Grand River go from Pontiac or to Lansing. So you see Gucci there. Gucci definitely was not there 10 years ago, but to see that store that you would see on Rodeo Drive in Detroit, that's definitely a good sign for the progress of Detroit. So this building off to the left here, this is actually Vicente's Cuban Cuisine. This was here 10 years ago, which is probably the only restaurant or business that was there in that building off to the left. There's definitely a lot of more development. So Moot's Pizzeria here. Remember when I was talking about the best New York pizza in Detroit? Moot's definitely will give Eatin' Out Pizza a run for their money, that's for sure. This has been very successful. The Side Hustle Bar that just opened up right next door. Now, this is another one of these alleys that I was talking about. When this was built, it was actually built as a parking garage, and a lot of people in Detroit said, great, the next building in Detroit is going to be a parking garage. That's just wonderful, being sarcastic. But it actually helped thrive a lot of businesses here, like for instance the Skip Bar. This is a good bar. I only was here once. I had a few cocktails in me, which, if you know what I mean, but my friend told me that he told them to make the drink strong, and it was certainly strong. So it's good that they care about what their customers want for what it's worth, but certainly would recommend at least trying that place out. Like in the other alley that I was explaining, they have various businesses, various bars that are attached to this little structure here. So even though it's a parking structure, it did open up for opportunities for business. Now here you see this elevated position here with the columns. This is actually the People Mover, this little train car that's coming in. This is one of the two modes of transportation to get around Detroit. If you want to circle around downtown, this is actually a good mode to get on. There's also the Q line, which is on the street level, and it goes for about 3.5 miles or so if you want to get around. Both are free, by the way. So here's the Queens Bar. The Queens Bar is right on Grand River. I had my old fashioned there. It actually was pretty decent. Friendly people too. Had a lot of great talks about how the Lions are going to do. So if you want to just hang out at a good place, meet some good people, the Queens Bar is a good one. Now this drink is one of the many drinks I had at La Laterna. This is actually the inside of it. This is a northern Italian restaurant, so if Italian cuisine is your type of thing, then I certainly recommend that. That was my pizza, and then after I was done with my pizza, this was one of their dessert drinks. Certainly recommend that. Now, this was actually in the restroom. This was a quote from one of the Rocky movies, which I'm a big Rocky fan, so I had to get that picture in there. I certainly appreciated that, especially if it was an Italian restaurant. I'm not really surprised that that was the case. So outside of La Laterna, this is actually the Capitol Park area. I just wanted to get some video of it while I was actually waiting for my Uber, so I'll let you take it all in and enjoy it for yourself. Now, there were people with tuxes. That's because there was a wedding going on. A lot of weddings going on in Detroit, which is certainly a good sign for Detroit coming back. Now, this was second best. This bar is right across the street from Grey Ghost, which I had an old-fashioned again here. Now, Grey Ghost has the best old-fashioned, which, speaking of that, right here, this is them making my old-fashioned. It was a Chiquita old-fashioned. Now, I've had old-fashions in the Upper West Side of Manhattan, but Grey Ghost still is the best old-fashioned I've ever had in Midtown Detroit. So, if you want old-fashioned, don't go all the way to New York. If you're in Detroit, you go to Grey Ghost, which that's the finished product right there. That bit of snow dust, I guess you can call it right there, that definitely was the key to making it great. So a little bit of inside of Grey Ghost. Hopefully I wasn't too fast for you. That was my burger and fries. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I'll probably go with the steak next time or so. Now, this is the inside of the Greek. This is the Saganaki, which is a staple of Greektown. If you want to go to any restaurant, certainly order the Saganaki. That's a staple. So that's about it, guys. I appreciate you stopping by, and I'll certainly show you more of Detroit next time. Take care.